Hi, this is a quick walkthrough of my new website on this project called Contact, in which we explored two objects coming into contact, and mine were a pick on guitar, and this is the recorded sound that made. So I tried to record a variety of sounds that these particular objects made, and I did this by like moving the pick around, creating these kind of scratchy areas as well as more harmonious notes. And this project is also broken up into four main parts, which kind of represent the four major points of development within my processes. And number one is sounds and drawings. Number two, textures and repeat patterns, as well as spatial development and over time. So I was just going to number one, which was a initial kind of understanding and exploration into this particular sound. So these were some of the works. Um, I made whilst listening to this sound file on repeat, and just kind of the aesthetics that gave off, um, how it sounded like to me, what kind of characteristics those notes gave off. And there were some parts that I felt like were more flow together, these scratchy areas as well in the recording, some bits that were more sudden, like that started more sudden. And it also reminded me of water in a way, how that was very calming. It was almost like I was laying in a pool with just my face above the surface, and that kind of silence and tranquility and just being in your own space. So that kind of um, reminded me of that. So I used the color blue as well to represent that further. This was also um, some of these process photos that I took while doing this one, which I scratched it with the pick itself, and I created these lines. So a quote that I like quite a lot is by Roger Fry, an art critic that reviewed this work called Cossacks by Kandinsky, and he described it as pure visual music. And it was such an inspiration to me. How do you like represent music in terms of art? How do you represent something that you hear in terms of something that you can see, and how these correlate and connect to each other as they both play such a big part in my life, music and art. And I love to see how these two can go hand in hand with each other as well. So textures and repeat patterns allow me to further explore this kind of concept and further understand the sound. These are some of the works here. I really like this technique that I used here, which is like cropping out just a portion of the original, the initial artwork that um, I made in part one, and kind of putting that in different directions here, and seeing how that can form like a pattern in itself and become a work of its own. That was very interesting to explore. Part three, spatial development. This allowed me to kind of put how I was what I was thinking, how I was feeling into something 3D and something that you could interact with, as well as like being an interior experience. And this is a video of the light shifting with outside the space and how that interacted with elements inside the space. These were some immersive photos. And the strings in the back kind of represent the 6 strings in the guitar, but there's a whole world behind that as well. It's a whole um, aesthetic and a whole way of expressing emotions or stories. And I just kind of included elements that I thought related to the sound recording, so some harmonious points in the sound, as well as the sudden jolts, and also using this kind of string method and dipping it in ink as the outside, as the inside bit of these walls. So over time, I explored in a GIF animation, and this is it. I just really like looking at this one as well because it makes me feel like yes, I'm going like under the water into a place of like quiet and calming. And that's how the sound recording made me feel as well. So to be able to kind of represent that in a gift method was also very interesting, something that I haven't really experimented a lot with before. So it was nice to put that into experimentation. And so it was very interesting to see how I could develop this one sound into something that was more than just a sound, something that was like a drawing and artwork, patterns, and like 3D models as well. And I just want to develop it further from now on. I feel like this is just the starting point of what could be expanded on a lot more in the future. And I love how it's a way of expressing yourself, expressing your view on the world, and how that can be so amazing, but also make you feel like vulnerable at the same time, and all those emotions, and how that connects with like artworks and projects and musics and everything as well. And it was also a very new experience for me making a website, but I loved playing with just the whole layout, the whole style, making it cohesive, even though it was hard at times. Um, and I'm just starting right now, so it's very exciting for me to think about how I could develop this and further improve in the future as well. So thank you.